guys, Chetan Bhagat has written a new book, 12 Years, My Messed Up Love Story. You have to believe me when I say that I fully intended to brave through it for you guys, but I couldn't do it. The day has finally come. Chetan Bhagat has written a book that even I couldn't read. Most people who identify themselves as serious readers hate Chetan Bhagat because his writing lacks depth, it's too simple, it lacks poetry, but not me. I do think his writing isn't that immersive, but I don't think we should gatekeep art and literature should be as accessible to everyone as possible. No, my problem with Chetan Bhagat is not his writing. It's that he's a grade A misogynist. And his new book is all the evidence one needs. It is an age gap romance where she is 21 years old and he is 33 years old. Now, surprisingly, the most problematic part of this book is not even their ages. It's that characterization is written to deliberately and consciously provide the contrast between her innocence and his maturity. He is divorced. She's never had a boyfriend. He is Punjabi. She is from a conservative Jain family. You get what I mean? Anyways, I don't want to talk about that book anymore because, like I said, I couldn't finish it. Instead, I thought we could revisit some of his most popular classics and see just how ever did Chetan Bhagat become so beloved. So let's start with the worst book ever written since Mein Kampf, Half Girlfriend. The story follows Madhav, who is in college on sports quota, and his entire personality is that he is from the village and his English isn't that great. The hypocrisy is immediate. This book tries to advocate for the working class, and Madhav has a high contempt for these rich English types until he meets one who happens to be a pretty girl. His morals all fly out the window as soon as he meets someone he can flaunt out as a trophy. Just like most Indian rom-coms, she is educated, well-read and groomed, everything that he is not. This book wastes no time to descend into its misogyny, saying that girl sports only exist for men to check them out while they are playing. And somehow, none of the girls play well despite also being there on sports quota. I'm going to touch on this again in two states, but Chetan Bhagat hates his heroines being competent. Madhav sees Riya playing basketball and immediately falls in love with her. Immediately objectifies her, calling her skin cream to pink to red. What? Again, Mr. Bhagat has to drill his prejudice into our heads by having Madhav beat Riya 20-9 in basketball. Because how can the heroine possibly be better at sports than the hero? Do you think Anjali would have gotten Rahul if she had beat him in basketball? Of course. Now this book takes an insanely creepy turn because apparently English isn't the only thing that Madhav doesn't understand. He also doesn't understand boundaries. Madhav declares his love for Riya and basically begs her to be with him. A common thread throughout this entire book, despite her repeated and continuous insistence that she is not interested and would just like to be friends. 2 seconds after she says that she just wants to be friends, he says this: "Why is there nothing between us?" And after getting shot down again, Madhav finally decides that if she won't go out with him, then he must sexually assault her. The phrasing that the author uses for their first kiss, which comes just seconds after she rejected him and said she just wants to be friends, is "I took aim and bent," which feels almost predatory, like he's the poacher and she is the target. After this, the book gets even harder to read. For days, Riya repeatedly rejects his physical advances. She says she's uncomfortable. She says she just wants to be friends. She says no multiple times. And yet, Madhav says, "Why don't you let me hold you?" And in classic Madhav fashion, without even waiting for an answer, proceeds to take her into his arms. Obviously, she pushes away. And in response, he assaults her again. And Chetan Bhagat uses the phrasing, "she didn't protest," implying that she is warming up to him in some way. Ugh. And so that is their second kiss, which comes right after she rejects him for the millionth time and is also forced, a fact that Riya brings up multiple times. This shows that the author is well aware of the crimes that he is making his male lead character commit. A few weeks later, he once again, and she once again, and finally Riya, desperate to get away from her stalker, comes up with the only compromise that she can think of. She will be his half-girlfriend. I'm sorry, how is that a compromise? If one person wants to be in a relationship and the other person doesn't want to be in a relationship, you don't be in a relationship. The compromise isn't a half relationship. What? I know I keep saying this, but then comes the absolute worst part of the book. One day, Madhav grabs her and doesn't let go, and she says, "Stop, you're hurting me." She begs and repeatedly says no. And in response, he says, "I have played the patience game for far too long, and I expected her to yield to me now." How romantic. This writing, it's so violent. Come on, this is a rom-com. He keeps forcing himself on her until he says. After this, obviously, Riya stops talking to him forever. She cuts off their friendship, something which I think is long overdue. And Chetan Bhagat, the chauvinist that he is, starts telling us just how bad this makes poor Madhav feel, trying to get sympathy points for the terrible character that he has written. Riya drops out of college, she gets married to her rich boyfriend, and then she divorces him. Madhav goes on to become a successful businessman, or whatever, I don't care. They meet 2 years after their graduation, and get this, she apologizes to him, saying that she was just immature back then. And any guesses as to whether he apologized or not? The answer is no. He doesn't apologize, ever. She goes to his house, she has dinner with him and his mom, and of course, Chetan Bhagat does not miss this opportunity to sprinkle in some more casual sexism. Then, when they're alone, he once again forces himself on her. 2 years after they've graduated. After the entire incident, Madhav learned nothing. We're only halfway through the book and Chetan Bhagat is already out of ideas because then she rejects him and then he does it again and then she rejects him and then he says this. Girls have no idea how much it hurts when our love is rejected. Yet, men are expected to keep trying and take hits all the time. I'm sorry, did Riya say that? Did she tell you to keep trying over and over again? Because I feel like she's saying the exact opposite. Listen, the ending of the book is terrible and very random. Riya gets lung cancer and Madhav, our beautiful hero, makes it all about himself. She reveals that her ex-husband was abusive and that's why she divorced him. And this just feels like a cheap tactic to make Madhav seem better in comparison when he's also been abusive to her, physically abusive to her multiple times. Chetan, do you think we forgot? She recovers, they end up together, live happily ever after. I don't care. The book ends with Madhav giving this life-saving advice to their son. Don't quit, it will happen one day. Which roughly translates to, don't stop harassing the girl that you like, she will eventually give in. I don't want to talk too much about the other books. Two States is a stereotypical, illogical mess. Both the male and female leads are insufferable. Ananya is a typical pick-me. She is not like other girls, except here she is not like other Tamilians. She eats non-veg and she wears short clothes and she speaks Hindi and she drinks beer, none of which Tamilians ever do. Didn't you know they were a different species? Remember when I said Chetan Bhagat is allergic to writing competent women? Once again, in this book, Ananya is an economics graduate and she doesn't know the equation for marginal utility. And she has to have the male hero, an engineering graduate, to explain it to her. As a Tamilian and a commerce student, I somehow found this more offensive than all the other South Indian stereotypes in this book. Also, off topic, she doesn't know that she is having twins until the delivery, and everyone, including the doctor, is just so nonchalant about this. Bro, did you do any research before writing this book about anything? This book is based on his own marriage to a South Indian, something he also talked about in his special in One Mic Stand in Amazon Prime Video, which is a whole nother flavor of racism. In short, while I do think Chetan Bhagat helped get a lot of Indians into reading, I think it's safe to say that the Chetan Bhagat era is ending and the world is a better place for it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought about my thoughts in the comment section below. Do you love Chetan Bhagat? Do you hate Chetan Bhagat? All opinions are welcome. And let me know what I should review next. Bye.